Gentleman from Virginia.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to yield the balance of my time to the distinguished minority leader, the gentleman from Ohio.
Gentleman from Ohio is recognized for 2 minutes.
Let me thank my colleague for yielding, and Madam Speaker, congratulate you on your upcoming marriage and your new job, and all of us on the Republican side of the aisle. Thank you for your service to this institution, your service in the chair, and good luck to you. My colleagues, we've been through a very difficult time in our economy. We had the great economic shocks of last fall, and we've seen unemployment climbing month after month after month, now at some 9.4%. Earlier this year, we passed a 1,100-page bill that no one had read that was supposed to be about putting the American people back to work again. It was supposed to be about stimulating our economy, and all we heard during that debate was about jobs, jobs, and jobs. And it's pretty clear that what the bill really ended up being was nothing more than spending, spending, and more spending. Because since that bill passed, some 1.7 million Americans have lost their jobs. And so when we look at the legislation that continues to go through here, the American people are seeing an awful lot of us spending, awful lot of money going to government, but they're not seeing new jobs. And now we come to what I believe is the most profound piece of legislation that has come to the floor of this House in the last 100 years. It's hard to say in the first 6 months of a new Congress that this could be the defining vote and the defining bill for this Congress, but I really truly believe that this is the defining bill. The problem that this bill attempts to go after are the issue of climate change and cleaning up our air. Secondly, to build a new alternative energy industry in the United States. Those are really the two issues. And I guess the third issue would be jobs. Those are the goals that this bill attempts to go after. But when you look at the structure that's being built, it defies anyone's imagination to believe that the federal government could create such an elaborate process to deliver on those three goals. I've got a chart here that goes through all of the agencies involved, all of the structure that is created under this bill. It's all being done, of course, in the middle by the Environmental Protection Agency. They're at the center of this. But if we look at all of the different agencies involved, you'll see that we've got the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission involved. We've got the United States Department of Agriculture that's going to be involved. The Internal Revenue Service will be engaged in this bill as well. The Department of Treasury. I wish I could tell you what FWS was, but somebody could probably tell me. We have the Commodity Futures Trading Commission that's going to be involved in helping to regulate this. The National Oceanographic Weather Service, basically. The Department of Health and Human Services going to be involved in putting this together. How about the Department of State? Play a big role in making sure that we get cleaner air and green energy. We got the Department of Energy, of course, the Department of Labor, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, Bureau of Land Management. All these federal agencies are going to take part in trying to put this bill into action. But that's not all. Not even close. We've got the Offsets Integrity Advisory Board. We also have the Carbon Market Oversight Interagency Working Group that are going to try to help control who gets these carbon credits and who doesn't, how they can be traded and how they can't, and where in the world these offsets are going to be. Don't have to be in the United States. We're going to see billions of American tax dollars being shipped around the country, around the world, whether it's replanting forest in other parts of the world, they're going to help clean up our air. I'm sure our constituents want our money being shipped overseas to plant trees. But that's not all. That's not all, not even close. We've got the consumer refund fund that's going to be outlined here. We got the International Reserve Allowance progress here. How about the domestic offset providers? We've got the offset traders and the national offset providers. Oh, we got the Clean Vehicle Technical Advisory Board. We have the Carbon Capture Board. And it goes on and on and on. This elaborate government structure that'll cost the American people several $1 trillion over the next 10 years, all in an effort to clean up our air, help build a new alternative energy industry in the United States, and to help create jobs in our country. I don't believe there are hardly any people in America who believe that this giant government bureaucracy is going to be able to deliver on the three goals that you outlined. And it's not just the cost, and it's not just the bureaucracy. Listen, there's not a member in this body that doesn't want to improve the air quality in our country and around the world. There isn't a member in this body who doesn't believe that speeding up the development of alternative sources of energy isn't good for America. No one. There's complete agreement on that. But do we need to go through all of this? Do we need to have a national energy tax on every person in America who would drive a car, who would flip on a light switch, or who would buy an American-made product? Because virtually every American-made product has an awful lot of energy in it. That's not enough. If you look at this bill, and you look at the analysis of this bill, you'll see that 2.5 million jobs on average will be lost each and every year over the next 10 years as a result of this bill. Some of those people happen to reside in my district in Middletown, Ohio, where AK Steel is headquartered. They make steel the old-fashioned way. They bring in iron ore, coal, they bring limestone in. You get it hot enough, you've got steel. The cost of their steel will increase 30 to 40% if this bill were to pass. And at a time when we're trying to help the American automobile industry get back on its feet, the last thing they're going to do is pay 30 or 40% more for their steel. So what are they going to do? They're going to bring it in from China. They'll bring it in from India, who are not burdened under this regulatory scheme, nor are they burdened under our current environmental regulations. And so what happens is high energy jobs in America are going to get shipped overseas at exactly the wrong time. The American people sent us here to help this economy, to help get them back to work. This is the biggest job-killing bill that has ever been on the floor of the House of Representatives. Right here, this bill. And I don't think that's what the American people want. But if our goals are to clean up the air, to build an alternative energy business in the United States, a thriving one, and to create jobs, there's a better way to do this. And it's the all-of-the-above strategy that we've been talking in this chamber about for nearly a year. And that is to say we need to have more alternative sources, whether they be solar, wind, geothermal. We can produce those additional types of energy and help renew them. But in the meantime, America needs energy to grow our economy. So we need to have more drilling for oil and gas in the United States. There's no question about it. We need to increase the supply of American-made energy so that we bring down the price. And what we do in our bills, we take all the royalties from the development of additional oil and gas reserves in the United States, and we plow it back into renewable sources of energy. And as a result, our bill puts more money into renewables and speeding up the development of renewables at a faster pace than the bill on the floor of the House today. That's not enough. We need to do all of the above. We need to develop clean coal technology. We need to be serious about nuclear energy. There's nothing in this bill before us that's going to allow us to produce nuclear energy in any kind of a quick way, or frankly, none at all. But we all know it's the cleanest source of energy that we can have in the United States. And so why shouldn't we do all of the above? Because here's what all of the above does for us. It gives us cleaner air. It gives us lower energy prices. It really does move us quickly away from our dependence on all the foreign sources of oil that we have to rely on today. And it will do more in a very simple way than this big complex bureaucracy that is being outlined in this bill. Why can't we do all of the above? Why do we have to try to establish this giant structure that attempts to put some cap in but really doesn't, when we can do something simple?